Good morning, everyone, and good afternoon if you're joining us from the East Coast. Thank you for joining us for yet another great webinar. The title of our webinar today is Marketing Strategies to Implement in Admissions and Recruitment. And we have two fine guests here, our panelists. I will introduce them here in just a second. But in the meantime, as you're coming in, if you don't mind, if you can just let us know where you're joining us from in the chat. You can just let us know who you are. We would greatly appreciate it. And we'll get started here in just a second. And so as you're coming in, I'm going to go ahead and introduce our guest today. First, we have Miss Asia Haney. Asia is a highly motivated and customer service driven professional with over 8 years of experience in post-secondary education, strategic recruitment, digital marketing, and project management. As the Senior Director of Strategic Marketing and Communications at Houston-Tillotson University, Asia has been instrumental in driving enrollment growth and implementing innovative strategies. Asia oversees the development and maintenance of department's communication and marketing plan to engage over 40,000 prospective students in all areas of the enrollment funnel. With a bachelor's and master's in business administration from Houston-Tillotson University, Asia is committed to the development of student success through social and academic programming, financial literacy, and other initiatives that foster enrollment growth. Thank you, Asia, for agreeing to be a panelist today. Next, we have Mr. Michael Talamantes. Michael is the Director of Recruitment Services at the El Paso Community College, Valle Verde campus. He joined the University of Texas at El Paso's Office of Admissions and Recruitment shortly after graduating with his bachelor's and started his career in higher education administration as an admissions counselor. Michael earned his master's in educational administration in 2008 from UTEP. During this time, he has been recognized for his work and held positions within professional organizations like Texas Association of Collegiate Registrars and Admissions Officers. In 2011, he became director of the El Paso Admissions Center for the University of Texas at Austin. While at UT, his leadership enrollment strategies and event coordination for the region earned him the role of Regional Director of Admissions in 2014. Michael is rooted deep in the El Paso community and well respected by all the key partners necessary to establish an even stronger presence for El Paso Community College. Thank you also, Michael, for agreeing to be a panelist today.
Thank you.
So just want to let everybody know that this webinar will be recorded, and I will send out the recording as soon as it becomes available. If you have any questions, you can feel free to use the Q&A feature, or if you'd like to use the chat, I will be monitoring that as well. So we're going to start off with some questions here. So the first question I would like to ask you, Michael, is what platforms do you use at your institution to market to your students?
Everything but TikTok. I know that sounds weird. Our board recently made the decision to not utilize TikTok, even though that we know in Gen Z, it's pretty much their town hall of getting their information across. And of course, my guilty pleasure personally to see what's going on and how to make meal preps, as we were talking about earlier before we logged on. For X, we use X mostly for our information about the news portion of EPCC, of what we're doing as far as our faculty achievements, awards, etc. Instagram has been amazing for us, and we're an institution that uses Microsoft Teams. So we use the booking tools to book appointments with our prospective students, to book event management tools for that. Unfortunately, we do not have a CRM. So those are kind of a listing of the platforms that we use. And of course, with Trellis, reaching out to students about non-payment issues or information of an event that we're having for our community. Those are the platforms that we currently in use.
Thank you. And how about you, Asia?
Absolutely. So here at Houston-Tillotson, we utilize everything. We have not dabbled into commercials just yet, but radio advertisements, social media, of course, our hard copy, snail mail, if you will. going to college fairs and everything in between. Similar to what Michael said, we also utilize bookings for that one-on-one relationship building with our students, where they're able to meet one-on-one with our enrollment services specialist at a time that works best for them. We are a great partner, a proud partner, if you will, of Trellis to send out our text messaging to our students. But we have been able to utilize Salesforce within the past few years to really assist with our communication plans. But most importantly, making sure that our students are able to get that next step and staying engaged with what they need to do in order to enroll into Houston Tillotson and those deadlines. I do want to share that digital marketing has been one of our biggest tools within the past 2 years. We know the pandemic taught us a lot, but digital marketing has definitely been something that has allowed us to increase our enrollment. And that has increased from last year to this year around 17.6%. So really excited about all of the tools that we're utilizing to engage our students, but also to inform them about all that HD has to offer.
Great. All right. So does the content of your marketing vary depending on the targeted population? Like if you're targeting first-year students or stop out, first generation, etc. Can you elaborate a little bit on that, Michael?
Yes, absolutely. So I'm a 40-something. I'm not going to divulge the age, right? But I'm not of the Gen Z. So, grunge era type of situation. So there are different ways to approach the generation, right? So we at EPCC have various different types of pathways for our students. And we have a lot of non-traditional students, but of course, our bulk of our 25,400 students is a mixed bag of walks of life and generations. So when we're tackling students that are at an older generation, right, throwing technology in ways of how to secure an RSVP or how to book an appointment, those tend to have the snail mail or the physical piece that's sent to their houses. So having that physical postcard to let them know that registration's open, that we have an event, that works well. We also have a call center, fully outbound calls, and a majority of our outbound calls are for that demographic of students. Our first gen and our upcoming high school seniors, QR codes, the text messaging through Trellis, the emails that have links to URL specific platforms so we could track analytics of, all right, was this campaign successful or not through that term. But we definitely do not look at a particular application and see, okay, age, and then kind of decipher which way we're going to go. We're just looking at a historical data of the population of students that go into XYZ, for example, welding, or who go into our continuing education pipeline that are just getting those courses for our golden seniors to get through the day and learn something new.
Yes, I'm glad you mentioned that you don't look at the age. So that's good. You kind of go by your historical data. That's good. How about you, Asia?
Absolutely. I'm glad that you mentioned it, Michael. QR codes, they help our students. They definitely do. But at Houston Tillotson, we really focus and make sure that we have targeted communication based off the type of student. So whether it's a returning student, whether it is a first-time freshman or it's a transfer student, we really try to understand what their needs are. And make sure that we provide not only the resource, but that next step. So for our transfer students, I think this is a great population. They are trying to get into college, whether it's 2 years, and they are trying to go directly into their career. So we're sharing more information regarding, all right, we can articulate your transcript. We can get you in contact with an advisor. But most importantly, these are the career opportunities that you have access to. So some of the communication that we'll be sending them is take advantage of this career fair. This is how you apply to Handshake, which is our portal to network with some of our partners. And that has helped our students not only communicate with us, hey, this is what I currently have as far as how many credits I've received or internships I've been able to take advantage of, but also when we're partnering them with different alumni that may be mentors for them, it allows them to be on the fast track and to stay, but most importantly, graduate within that time frame. When we talk about our stop out and returning students, these students are interested in flexibility. All right, I completed 60 hours or I completed 80 hours. Where do I need to pick up? Whether the student stopped out for 1 semester or 2 years, we're constantly engaging that population and also inviting our deans and our faculty to communicate with those students as well. So they're not just getting overwhelmed with communication from the Office of Admissions, but they're getting direct communication with faculty members that may have been able to work and mentor them while they were here at Houston-Tillotson. So definitely being really strategic with our communication, depending on the type of student that it is. But most importantly, the snail mail, the postcards, we send all of that out to our students on a consistent basis, just to make sure that they know that they're on our minds. And if they need anything, they know who to reach out to, whether that be the Office of Admissions or if they need to handle some business with the business office. We want to make sure we provide that information.
Great. Thank you. So on that same note, Asia, do you recruit non-traditional age students?
Absolutely. Houston-Tillotson has an adult degree program. It was originally designed to target full-time working adults. They are able to take one course per week. And the main thing that we push with that program is cost, convenience, and community. And so our adult degree program, granted, they have the opportunity to complete that bachelor's degree and even an associate's within the same time frame as a traditional student, but they're looking for something a little bit more flexible. So yes, our adult degree program and the communication that we send to them and hand-holding them through their process, it's a completely separate team, but we work closely with them as well as career services to assist those students with their next steps. So communication definitely looks different for those students as well.
And how about you, Michael?
Definitely will echo that. We partner with our Career Transfer Services Center for those events. We also look out into the community. So we have 5 campuses across the El Paso area. So, we're a different time zone than you all in Texas, right? So I'm an hour behind you all. And sometimes we forget we're part of it. But the main tickets in town essentially is that transfer pipeline with our University of Texas at El Paso. And across those 5 campuses, we've kind of looked strategically to see more or less, well, if the majority of our hybrid courses can be offered in the Mission Del Paso campus, for example, which is near one of our Amazon fulfillment centers, which we do have a partnership with. We're an Amazon Choice School, which will pay for their tuition. And with that, we looked at that particular campus and realized that we need to develop an 8-week course program. And so we just launched an 8-week course at that particular campus to target these students because their family, their parents, they have lives and not doing the whole Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. model doesn't fit for them. So strategically, based off our campuses, we looked at which programs are really bringing in those non-traditional students and doing those focus groups to find out what would be best for them in order to get their certificate and degrees here at EPCC.
I would just like to add, Michael, we are focused on meeting our students where they are. You mentioned doing the focus groups, knowing what is going to not only just allow that student to get into college, but to complete that program. And so I love that you mentioned making sure that the students had that resource and understanding. Those 8-week classes definitely support those families.
I agree. So is there a difference between marketing and recruitment at your institution? If yes, what role does each office play in the overall recruitment process? And I'll start with you also, Asia, on that.
So yes, I love this question. There is a difference as far as department. We have a recruitment department and a marketing department. Recruitment is all about building the relationship with the prospective students, going out, talking to them, hand-holding them through that process. Marketing, or recruitment marketing, if you will, is helping develop that brand and telling the story. I think the best opportunity is us being able to meet weekly to make sure that we're on the same page, that we're saying the same message, and we all are understanding what the goal is and who our target audience is. As we both mentioned earlier, every student is looking for something different. And so if we're able to meet them where they are, communicate to what they are needing, we're able to ultimately get them to apply, enroll, and most importantly, graduate. So there are 2 different offices here at Houston-Tillotson. Yes, I'm the former director of recruitment and admission here at HT, and I've been able to work closely with this department now as the senior director of marketing to make sure that we're being able to tell that story, but looking at the data, looking at the trends, and utilizing technology to help us get to territories that we typically can't reach consistently. But utilizing all of those tools to tell that story, to follow up, to engage, and most importantly, being authentic to the brand of Houston Tillotson. So that is very important to us. We've been able to find synergy in constantly meeting and understanding who our audience is.
Great. And how about you, Michael?
We do have two different departments. So as Director of Recruitment Services, I handle all the outreach for our prospective students, and developing the synergy with our marketing department. It's so important. So as Asia mentioned, she has it all together because she's had those two roles and those experiences, and having the idea of realizing what our official brand is and noticing when we can use it for particular campaigns. So even nuances of, okay, which logo are we using? Mm-hmm. And if we're doing our giveaways, that has been something upon my role over this past year with EPCC, is that we have 5 different campuses, and 5 different campuses we're pushing out giveaways and swag with their respective campus logos and development of that. And no, we're all one institution. So having something as simple as the logo and identifying the branding, following that protocol and procedure when it comes to that. And our marketing side of the house really helps develop the optics for EPCC, letting them know that, sure, we are here for your educational opportunities, but what are we doing in the community? What are we giving back? And marketing does a wonderful job in getting that out to the community so that they know that we can start here with us and transfer somewhere else to another institution.
Tell us about the partnership you have with your local high schools, and what role they play in your strategy. And I'll start with you, Michael.
Well, let's just say I've been in this industry in El Paso since I had hair, a full head of hair, curls, all of it. So we're talking way back 2005. As we know, with the high school counselors, we have about 53 high schools in the El Paso area. And really the 3 big ticket pathways is El Paso Community College, University of Texas at El Paso, and then maybe about 30, 45 minutes down the road, if you're speeding, it's our New Mexico State University, which offers in-state tuition for our students, for El Paso students as well. So with that being said, a lot of these counselors are still in their roles today. So they have seen me from that baby recruiter to now in my position. And I've been able to have and identify those sponsorships of those people who are rallying for me personally as a professional. But as I move through my roles within the different institutions, I have been able to partner and participate in committees. There's one prevalent committee that's here in El Paso called the El Paso Area District Guidance of Counseling. They call it EPIDOG. I know it's a really interesting name there. So EPIDOG meets every month, and I have a seat at the table so I can talk about EPCC strategies, ask for support, provide information if we're doing events, etc. And in return, I can listen to what their needs are. And we're talking about a table of district head counselors that have different variances of ISDs, like from Clinton ISD, which is far east, a rural area, to our more populous ISD, like El Paso ISD. So having those meetings are really crucial to develop and let us know what we're doing well and what we can improve on within the community. So we're very fortunate, and I'm very fortunate in this role to help and be that deep-rooted, as we mentioned in my bio, in the community, because this is a market that I've grown up in the business for. So that has been very helpful because our counselors love their job, our high school counselors, but you know how they pop around at different campuses, and very hard to do that on the higher education side of the house, since we do have those 3 different areas here in El Paso. But having those relationship building, maintaining them, establishing them, so crucial to get the initiatives across of what you need to have institutionally.
I agree. Totally. And how about you, Asia?
Absolutely. So Houston Tillotson, we have several articulation agreements with community colleges that are pivotal to our enrollment strategy. We also partner with several high schools, and there are over about 40 high schools within the Central Texas area. And some of the partners with Advise Texas Breakthrough Central Texas as well, building relationship with them over time, but most importantly, opening up our campus to those counselors at the beginning of the year has definitely been helpful. We have a counselors luncheon every year where we're able to invite counselors, whether it's from high school or community colleges, both virtual and in person, to come on our campus and learn about all things HT. They get to hear not only from the deans, the directors, the presidents, the provosts, and they're able to ask questions based off of what their school is needing and what their students are needing. That has been very helpful in our role to not only build those relationships, but as those counselors are moving through the system, and as our team or universities are growing, we're able to put not only that name, but also that face with that name. In addition to that, one of the strongest, I would say, articulation agreements that we've had for some time now is our California Community Colleges Partnership. And that is a transfer agreement. We are the closest HBCU to the West Coast, and we really have a strong partnership with California in getting those transfer students to our campus. We built that relationship over the past 10 years now, and working closely with those individuals to pick up the phone, call me on my cell phone and say, hey, I have a student that is looking for a scholarship or that is interested in this major. Can you support them? And we work hand in hand to get that student from point A to point Z. And so that has been very helpful. And we have several articulation agreements, even with Austin Community College, working with those transfer students so they can jump directly into their career of choice, directly into their program. They don't have to take those prerequisites as well. So those are just a few, but building community and making sure that individuals within the community have the opportunity to come on campus, get acclimated with the resources. And not just one person, but also the entire community and our president. And so having an administration that is very open and welcoming to fostering those relationships has been very helpful with us reaching and exceeding our enrollment goals.
Well, you mentioned that you guys were the closest HBCU to California. Wow, I learned something new today.
Yes.
Well, that's good to have a partnership with California. Wow.
Absolutely.
So, do you target alumni in your marketing strategies to recruit new students? Michael, I ask you that first.
We absolutely do. One beautiful department that we work with as a very vital campus partner is our EPCC Foundation. This is a group that really connects with our students who have gone either getting their credit to transfer to our four-year institution here locally or abroad, or either getting our certificate to enhance their lifelong skills, and either to tell them about how different pathways you're able to succeed no matter what odds. I mean, El Paso is right next to Ciudad Juarez. So we have a lot of international students that financially, through financial hardships, visa situations, et cetera, our EPCC Foundation has marketing that highlights our hometown heroes and those hometown heroes that were touched by EPCC at one point, whether they did, again, take a credit here or there, received a certificate and got their full-on associates and made the transfer over to the university, to invite them to tell their stories so that resonates among the community that you can do this as too, because that helps a lot with marketing across all generations, right? As we talked a little about earlier, that everybody is a little hesitant to start the process at our particular institution. So we need to have those champions that can really advocate for it. EPC's Foundation has different events to garner not only the alumni aspect, showcase them, but to get that funding, right? So we can provide scholarships to enhance and bring more students. So here in El Paso, just that Latino X flavor, we have margaritas and fajitas night. And that is one of our largest donor night where we invite the community. We have our culinary school do a contest, if you will. So they try to fight it out to see who has the best fajitas. And then all the attendees vote on it. And it's just a wonderful program that our amazing director over there, Dr. Gross, has initiated. So having events like that where we're able to pull videos and testimonies, and then later down the line, use them at an Instagram reel or use them for email blast or connected through a Trellis text campaign to our URL link. Those are all items that are happening with us with our alumni.
In you, Asia?
I hope you all are taking notes, Michael. That was amazing. You said margaritas and fajitas.
Margaret fajitas.
I love that. I am going to be utilizing that in some way, form, or fashion for our alumni. We are doing a few things over here, but we haven't had that event just yet. But yes, I think our alumni are one of the best storytellers. I am a proud alum of Houston Tillotson University myself. And alumni and working with our alumni affairs department has definitely been a great resource in engaging our student population, following up, but most importantly, allowing them to recruit alongside our recruiters. We offer quarterly trainings for our alumni. And once they are able to complete that training, virtual or in person, we do send out certificates upon completion. And of course, we mail out swag with those certificates. We continue to engage our alumni in supporting the Office of Admissions through phone tree campaigns where they can follow up with students in their areas. They even have send-off events throughout the summer where they're able to host an event, invite the students and their families to come out to win prizes, but also to meet the alumni, to make sure that they have a sense of community, not just going to Houston Tillotson, but when they come back for the holiday break or if they need something, they have someone that they can reach out to as well and build relationships with early on. We encourage our alumni to participate in not only our preview day and volunteering, but cities such as Dallas and Houston, they bus in students at these events. And that has been a really huge support in not only getting students here, but building that relationship with the families also. We utilize our alumni to be mentors, of course, to offer career development and even internship and job opportunities. So we start early. As soon as we are able to engage a student, accept them, we invite our alumni to continue to cultivate that relationship with them. And so they're able to build that with the alumni as well as the students and their families.
Nasia, you meant you train your alumni. Can you kind of give me a little bit more? I mean, what do you train them on?
So
as far as
Houston Tillotson used to be Houston Tillotson College, and a lot of our alumni love to say that. So that's one thing part of the training.
the
Houston Tillotson University. Of course, admission requirements. We want our alumni to be knowledgeable about what are the requirements to get into our undergraduate programs. What new programs are on the horizon. So quarterly, we host a virtual training. We'll utilize Zoom, and we go over the admission requirements. We go over the programs that are offered. We go over how students can apply. We even give them the waiver code. So when they're recruiting, hey, this is a free application. You don't have to pay for it. The contact information, general information, but most importantly, getting them comfortable with speaking about the university, navigating the website and easily finding those links to share. We even send them scripts when they're doing phone calls to prospective students. So they have the direct call, the direct message that they need to send to them. So that has been very helpful. And continuously inviting them to participate in recruitment events alongside of enrollment services specialists has been helpful as well. And so our alumni chapters in Dallas, Houston have been having some friendly competitions with who's recruiting the most students every semester. And we love to see it, and we encourage them to continue that camaraderie as well.
Thank you for elaborating on that. Okay, so from time to time, or from the time of recruitment to enrollment, how many touch points do you use, and what type of engagement activities do you use? I'll start with you, Michael.
I'll use the analogy. I'm a Marvel fan, so I like all the Marvel movies and the Infinity Gauntlet, right? So we have 5 touches, the 5 touch points throughout the year that we kind of established here since I've come on board. That first touch point is in the fall semester where we do a collaborative workshop, if you will, with our partners UTEP here locally, and we call them Applied Texas Workshops. So we develop a schedule where we know from the beginning of when we open up our application in August to about the second week of October, we're going to every single high school and gathering applications and having all the seniors apply to both UTEP and UPCC. This has been a partnership that's been in place for well over 2 years. So we're gathering those applications, and as a collective unit at both institutions, we're gathering our applicant pool for the subsequent summer, fall, and spring semesters. Then the second touch point is interchangeable. We have our recruiters assigned to those different high schools. And we have recruiters assigned to different businesses. So for example, one recruiter may be in charge of Amazon. So not only are they in charge of a certain high school in an area, they're in charge of Amazon. developing the relationship, doing events to gather students from that area. And that could happen throughout the whole recruitment cycle. Then we also have another collaborative event, especially everything that we're learning now with FAFSA, right? The whole switcheroo they did on us this year. We have FAFSA workshops that will happen in the spring semester. And then for our campus initiatives, we have different campus events that are anchor events, like our open houses, Tejano Day. We have EPCC Roundup, which is our parent night that we're having this coming Monday. And we have them across the city just to be out there in the community again, to let them know about the different options here at EPCC. And our last end game movie towards the end of the whole recruitment cycle is called Operation College Bound. I was very fortunate to go to Seattle for ACRO this past early in November, actually, early this month. And we presented about this great initiative that, again, we're working with UTEP, where both EPCC and UTEP will go to high school campuses, kind of a roadshow type of situation. We start the last week of March, and we don't finish until the first week of May. And students who go through our pipeline of our events, we have our partners, tabling, resource fair, advising, counseling, etc. When a student comes to Operation College Bound with us, they're actually registered for the semester, summer and fall. So that event alone, we do all the preparation to make sure that that event is as smooth as possible. And we enroll around 2,500 seniors in that event alone for that. So it's kind of like our end game Thanos thing, and to have all our touch points throughout the year lead up to that event. And of course, we want to do more, but that's where we are right now.
No, those are some good best practices. And how about you, Asia?
Those were some really good touch points. So I took that question a different direction, and we touch our students consistently throughout the enrollment process, from inquiry all the way to enroll, at least about 30 to 60 touch points. And that's not just email communication, that's utilizing our snail mail, but most importantly, making sure students have the opportunity to come to campus. So within our communication plans, we identify what type of mindsets our students are. What are they looking for? Is it career? Is it campus life, student life, whatever it may be? Are they an out-of-state student, in-state student? And we cultivate a really unique communication plan for them. And so throughout those touch points, it's not just making sure that the student applies, submit the transcript, but it's also talking about the benefits of being at Houston-Tillotson, the benefits of being in Austin, Texas, which is rated the #1 city or best colleges for students as of today, and making sure that the students understand that HT is a safe space. And if they are trying to continue within their area of study, whether it's internship careers, whether it's going into medical school, grad school, we want to make sure that we are able to articulate that value proposition and making sure that we're meeting them where they are. And so within those strategies, we're inviting them to not only come on campus, but to meet one-on-one with the enrollment services specialists. We're talking about FAFSA, but yes, it is changing. And I don't think anyone has the correct answer as to what is going on right now. And so I love that we're starting December, making sure that they know that, hey, we're a resource. Our school number hasn't changed, so still updated when it opens. But all of our campus events, whether it's hosted by the Office of Admissions or the School of Business and Technology, we send that to our students, but also engaging with their parents early on is very important. So if you're able to capture their parent information upon application or upon inquiry, whenever you're able to get that in your system, communicating with the students' parents as well allows them to, one, get familiar with the university, but most importantly, know who the resources are to make. I hope that was helpful.
Yes, very, very helpful. There were a couple of questions that came in through the chat. I was going to save one of them for later, but since we were talking about touch points, there was a really good comment that was made about, I don't know if both of you have used any type of texting platform, but if you do, the question was, if with the text campaigns, are texts coming from one number or from multiple? And then asking because some of the students are allowed to opt out and they end up missing vital marketing information when overloaded by daily student life events, just for example. So I don't know if either one of you guys use text platform or anything when you contact your students for marketing or recruitment.
Yes. So for texting, we make sure that the heavy hitters that utilize it more often than not have their own number.
Mhm.
So, and then, for example, financial aid, admissions, and registrar, and then here at recruitment. So we'll meet monthly to ensure that we have our campaigns, because sometimes the campaign messaging may be interchangeable between the population of students that we're using. So we're trying to be filtering those data sets more thoroughly. For example, if we wanted to really focus on students that are not showing registration for the fall semester, we want them to come for spring, then that we know for sure it's not going to be the same data set of our incoming freshman pool that we're going to send a text invite for our roundup event. So that's something that we've improved over time. And we noticed that if we are having those text campaigns, they could be launching the same day. So having different numbers and different profiles helps us out. So a student wouldn't officially opt out of hearing from recruitment, but they will surely know that financial aid, they're going to stay in tune with them to get the updates and information on their disbursement, et cetera. So that helped.
Yes.
That was a really good question.
Mhm.
I will speak directly to our prospective students. The enrollment management team, we try to only send communication from the enrollment management team to our students. So even if it may be for housing or it may be for student affairs, it will come from the enrollment management number, and it may have, for more information, click here. If you have questions, this is the email to this department, but it is constantly coming from the enrollment management team. We do work closely with our on-campus constituents to make sure that the communication is timely, and to make sure that our students are not overloaded with communication or multiple communications within a day or a week. And so we've been able to really make sure that we have a robust communication plan that's not too annoying, but know that, hey, if we're sending you a text this week, the following week, we're going to be sending you a follow-up email, and then we may be giving you a call. So we really try to be strategic in our touch points with students. We know sometimes those students that procrastinate looking at March, April, May, we're really touching them a little bit heavier, but we really work closely internally to make sure that our students aren't receiving multiple communications within a day or the week.
Yes, and I'm glad you mentioned that, having those different touch points. If you text, maybe we'll call the next time, and then, like you say, snail mail or something to that nature, because you're right. The best practices is, you don't want to, send a ton of text messages to, make them opt out. But also, Michael, I like the idea that you said you guys had different phone numbers, in case they did opt out in one, then the other one, like in your example, you said financial aid, they still have that one that they haven't opted out in. So, and if they opt out, is it easy for them to opt back in?
Yes. Very similar, I guess, like a text thread on your phone. You can type start again, and it could bring you back into the fold of things. So, but I'm sure if you ever, any type of text platform, right? When we're having these multiple profiles, best practice advice from me to you is to make sure that those departments have those staff members that can answer appropriately. And just like we know, in text and emails, we want to make sure things are spelled correctly and that there's a tone there, because I'm sure you experienced this too, Asia. Like when we send out text messages, the students we're in the age of AI, right? They think it's like just an automated thing, but the response wise is actually a person on the other end. So we've got a wonderful emojis and a different array of colors over here. So when you do it, different profiles is to have some type of training with the different departments that are going to be handling the responses at the respective phone numbers, to have those types of conversations and training moments to make sure that the messaging is consistent.
Yes. And then, of course, if you use Trellis, we can't really assist in recruitment, but once they are a part of your team in admissions, we definitely can assist as well with that, that text campaign. So,
Michael, what platform do you use, Michael?
We use Trellis, and then we also use Student Bridge.
Student Bridge, okay. At Houston Tillotson, we utilize Trellis as well as Signal Line.
Okay.
Okay, so what strategies do you implement to engage current students with prospective students? And I'll start with you, Asia.
Our current students love to engage with our prospective students. One organization that we have on campus is our HT Ambassadors. And this is a group of student leaders that assist not only the Office of Recruitment and Admission with campus tours, but also local recruitments, as well as some of our virtual events. And these students are the faces of HT, if you will. So they're able to assist, answer questions, but most importantly, they're assisting with following up and making sure that the students know that, hey, I was once in your shoes, I was a business major, and this is why I chose Houston-Tillotson University. And when you're able to have a student who was just a senior in high school communicate, this is why I came to Houston-Tillotson. These are some of the cool things I am doing right now. And they're able to tell their story. It really allows the students to see themselves in that seat. But most importantly, they have a friend on the other side of that phone that is going to look out for them when they get there. And that's a personal story that I can tell for myself. And so seeing our students day-to-day interact with our prospective students, whether it's on the phone, whether it's on a campus tour, engaging with the families that are coming as well, those large groups, but telling their why and letting them know that, hey, I'm a part of this organization, or I'm a part of this honor society, and this is what I've been able to do during my tenure here, is very compelling. And those are ways that we incorporate our students. Of course, Instagram takeovers for those that can't be on campus right here and right now, but utilizing our students on all of our marketing material. Every year we modify the cover of our admissions brochure. Granted, the admissions requirements haven't changed, but if a junior received our admissions brochure last year, they're going to get probably the same one with a few tweaks, but you're going to see new faces. And those are our freshmen, our sophomores that are here on campus right now, being involved in the campus community. And it is allowing students to, one, be proud of themselves, but they're able to recruit as well. Mom, I'm on the front of this magazine. I'm about to share this information with my family, my friends. And it allows us to constantly recruit, but most importantly, allow our students to see themselves at the forefront. So those are a few things that we're doing here at Houston-Tillotson that our students love to participate in. A few things that we've done in the past is we've also had some of our student organizations adopt a high school. So if you want to identify our Greek letter organizations, each one of them were able to adopt a high school and consistently monthly visit that school and recruit. But also it puts an ease on the Office of Recruitment and Admission. It allows our students to have some pride going in, not only talking about the admission requirements, but the student organizations. We've been able to do that for some time now. We've seen a great return as well.
Oh, that's great. I like that idea. And it, adopt a high school. That's great. And so they would just reach out to them, like you said, like on a consistent basis, just speaking with the students about HT.
Absolutely. So we would partner the student organization president, if you will, with the counselor at that high school.
Okay.
Do the introduction and invite them when we go and recruit, and let them know that, hey, monthly, we would love for this organization to come, and we would identify what that schedule is. We'll work with the university as far as transportation if it was needed for those students. But that is a way for them to not only assist with applications, making sure students apply, but hey, next month I know that Asia, who's a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, is coming, and I may be interested in the organization. So I know if I have questions, she'll be here. She'll be my point of contact. And when I go into Houston-Tillotson as a freshman, I know I can already have a relationship built with that individual. Counselors are very receptive to it. We've not only done that with some of our organizations, but also our alumni in different cities.
Thank you for elaborating on that. Michael?
Well, first of all, that IG takeover, consider that stolen. I'm gonna use that over here.
I just want to say that you guys are really giving some really good, best practices and nuggets that you guys are doing on campus. And I hope everyone is taking notes. And if you have, like I say, any questions about any of this, please feel free to, reach out to us, and we'll be more than happy. So I just had to put that in before you go, Michael. Okay, go ahead.
Wonderful moderator too. So you're doing a wonderful job as well. So I'm just looking even better being next to beautiful women. So that's what we are today. For this question, though, throughout the years, yes. And I highly encourage the current students. And thankfully, under my role, I have a pool of 25 students called our EPCC College Readiness Mentors. And of these 25 students, they're current students who are not only assigned high schools and adopted schools from K through 8, they do go out with the EPCC recruiter and help give that kind of translation, right, of a recruiter could talk about the requirements, and then if the student talks about it, it's a whole different experience. And we really want to highlight our faculty, but we know that there's a time and place for our faculty to be passionate. And sometimes faculty are not to have that audience at the particular high school. So the IG takeover definitely going to be using. So when we have any events, we partner up our current students to participate, whether they're checking in the student, they're involved in student panel. We highlight them in our profiles through social media and through the emails, et cetera. We highly encourage, and it's very fortunate that I'm able to volunteer our current student, and we pay them, we give them in-town travel for mileage and all those other perks as their student job. But we have that resource that we're able to just turn on and off should the moment have. So very fortunate to be in that place. But with this, for everybody online, being through all these times, the student talk and the student experience and advocating on your behalf is just a wealth of an opportunity there.
So how did the pandemic affect your marketing strategies? And I'll start with you, Michael.
Yeah, realizing, I guess, the rug under the cover, right? Or just you pull something over and you're like, you vacuum everywhere, and then you get one corner of the room and you're like, oh, we forgot this spot. So it definitely unveiled a lot of things that we need to improve on. Right off the bat, as both of us have talked about earlier, is utilizing the virtual space, knowing that that virtual space is valid, when before the pandemic, it was not even a consideration. It was more face-to-face, get them in here, get the numbers. But knowing afterwards with mental health and PSTD and everything that has affected our students and whatever life situations that they have, that having a virtual option in everything that we do is giving us that space for everyone to participate and do that. So for the marketing strategies, really utilizing what we have currently. We had Microsoft Teams forever, right? And then after the pandemic, okay, now everybody's on it. We just switched to it. When it comes to having those events, we have virtual Tejano series where we're highlighting different departments for not only incoming students, but for our current population, should they be deciding whether they should go in health allied field or into our technical programs. So we've been having that discussion with our campus partners that even though we have quote unquote gone through it all, we still need to offer that virtual space and virtual option in everything that we do.
I agree. And I think for Houston-Tillotson, we were slowly transitioning to be like, okay, let's try virtually then, right before the pandemic. And then it came and we're like, all right, let's go. And so a complete 360, I think everyone during the pandemic was trying any and everything. We know we all learned how to utilize and attend a virtual recruitment fair where you were able to customize your booth, but utilizing Zoom, utilizing Teams, and making sure our students knew that we were available. Outside of just sending emails, we were like, okay, students are about to be bombarded with emails from everyone. How can we get as really creative, crafty, and intentional with some of our postcards, snail mail that goes out? But the use of Instagram Live really took off. And Fridays, we incorporated Fram Fridays. And it's when the Office of Admissions interviewed a different department, whether it was a major, whether it was an athletic program. But every Friday, we invited our alumni, all of our prospective students, to join us on Instagram Live to ask questions. And we saw engagement increase, but most importantly, people were excited to participate. They were excited to wear their maroon and gold and be able to be a part of that conversation in real time. The use of social media, the use of radio advertisement. We even dabbled in utilizing billboards at that time just to try to make sure that, hey, we were present, brand recognition was there, but most importantly, students knew that Houston-Tillotson was a viable option. And so those were some of the marketing strategies we deployed. Instagram is not going anywhere. So if you're not utilizing it, get one of your student workers to show you how to utilize it and make sure that you are engaging with your prospective students, answering their questions and being creative in the content that you're able to develop. Digital marketing ads is something that we've been utilizing now, and it has allowed us to grow our overall enrollment numbers, but not just getting students enrolled, the applicants, moving students to accepted, and that call to action is constantly there. When we talk about search engine optimization, geofencing, partners to assist you all with making sure that your students know what their next steps are, but they're able to see you all consistently has definitely supported Houston Tillotson. And those were a few marketing strategies that we utilized during the pandemic, and we're still utilizing some of those now.
And to kind of like piggyback up back on that as well, did you learn anything from the pandemic that is in place now? You kind of touched on it a little bit. But so example, you use little social media, as you just said earlier, but now you use it more often now. But the pandemic made us realize social media is a cost-effective strategy to reach. So did you guys learn anything from the pandemic that you put in place? Other than, of course, increasing social media.
Absolutely. So you want to increase not only your social media engagement, but you want to put the students out there. Get your students in front of that camera, allow them to talk about their experience, not just a tour of the campus and a video, but no, this event is taking place in real time. Look at what we're doing. Look at what we're eating. Students want to see that. But most importantly, engagement. How can students win a t-shirt, a coffee mug? Q&A, asking questions and getting them involved early on. You'll be surprised on how many people want to participate just to get that free shirt that's been in your closet of supplies for I don't know how long. So those are a few things that you can utilize. Postcards go a long way. I know Trellis has helped us send out communication, not only just next steps regarding the checklist, but sending out postcards throughout that process, not only to the students, but we're talking about to the parents as well. They want to be a part of that process, and having a letter from the university to the parent of really sets a tone, but it speaks directly to them to know that, hey, your voice matters, your opinion matters. You have questions, this is who you can reach out to. And getting information in front of them before they think about it or before they have to be concerned is really what we want to make sure that we're doing. To allow them to know that, hey, this is the best option for your student, and this is how you can discover more or get your questions answered. And then I want to say the biggest takeaway is utilizing digital marketing ads to touch your students, even when it's midnight and they're on the computer. This Houston Tillotson ad pops up. They're able to click on it because of keyword search. They're able to click on it, complete the application in real time. But most importantly, that next morning, your team is able to follow up with them. And we're able to track that information utilizing our CRM, utilizing Salesforce. Google Analytics is one of your biggest tools as well. And those are things that we can start incorporating now, or your team can start incorporating now to just look at those touch points.
Absolutely. I would just add about the very little social media. We found out that across all our 5 campuses, we had very little accounts. So what we did that was a very cost-effective way is that we kind of had Instagram starter kits. So we purchased ring lights, little microphone, little stands, and then we would go to different departments that we wanted to see create accounts. And then just how I'm lit right now with all this ring light here. Having those tools, they're like, oh, now I want to create. Now I want to have content. And so that's not extra money that you're throwing out there. They're doing out of their own time and their own creative energy to get the message and let, for example, here at EPCC, that is the best place to start and finish for students. And now it's just kind of skyrocketed where we're trying to bring everybody together and be like, okay, well, make sure we're on brand, make sure we're doing this, use this appropriate color. But as Asia mentioned too, we don't want to lose touch of what has been successful in the past. So sending out an acceptance packet, sending out those postcards are still very beneficial in the overall scheme of things.
Great. I did have one question that came in through the chat that I want to ask. And then if anybody else have any questions, I think we have about 5 more minutes. Please send them over. We'll be more than happy to address them. But the question that we had in the chat is, does your institution monitor the success of your marketing efforts? If so, what platforms are you using to do so? Great question.
I'll take a stab at that question. So we have a partner called Encore that assists us with our digital marketing. And we meet with them weekly to identify our impressions, our click-through rates, and we compare that with the data as far as how our applications are performing or growing. Specifically, our adult degree program, we have 4 different majors that we focus on. So we're able to see this is the goal that we're looking for enrollment for the upcoming year. Our students clicking on it is the call to action direct. And is it something that they are interested, that they're compelled to click on? If not, we're able to change that messaging to compare to see which one relates best to our students. So that is one partner that we utilize to look at our digital marketing consistently. We utilize Google Analytics. Who is clicking on the website? How often are they visiting? We utilize Salesforce, which is our CRM. If we're sending out an email, which percentage of students open that email? If they didn't open it for some consistent time now, maybe we need to refresh the subject line. Maybe we need to change who it's coming from. Instead of the Office of Admissions, maybe it needs to come from a specific counselor that they're familiar with that's over the Dallas territory that they've already built a relationship with. So CRM, Salesforce, Google Analytics, just looking at click points through our website. And then Encore is a really big supporter and a partner with our digital marketing. And of course, if you have Instagram, you can click on the settings and look at how many people open this or shared this video. That is always very helpful.
Very well said, Asia. The cheese stands alone, as I mentioned, disclosed. We do not have a CRM. It's in the works. So I'm hoping one day, yes. But right now, using the analytics through Google, again, the interactions and Instagram, but also old school recruiting. So you have a data set, you save it, you're checking on we're a banner school, check on banner. Did that student ultimately enroll? And we could go ahead and take that credit if it's close to, and we'll go ahead and take that as an achievement. But those are things that we're currently doing right now in the waiting room for CRM to be established here at EPCC.
And I'm gonna share, Michael. We just got our CRM, so that's not
okay.
what we use.
Well, you sound so expert now, so I can't wait to be you in the future.
And I'm here to support. And let me tell you, if you have to use it, a good old Excel spreadsheet, our inquiry form, you're able to work that list, engage that list, see which students have been able to submit an application. Old school, utilizing the VLOOKUP, it works. Utilize what you have, compare that data. And if you see that your students aren't moving, change the subject line, call that student, send them a postcard. Don't just think that that email is the only thing that's going through. We know that, and specifically for Texas, everyone is coming to Texas to recruit our students. We're all preparing for the enrollment cliff. And so we have to be really creative and we have to meet our students where they are. And so whether it's sending them a sticker, whether it's sending them a postcard, whether it's sending them a funny text message with an emoji in it, letting them know that, hey, I thought about you, happy holidays. Getting really creative and crafting your messaging is really what's going to set us apart. So utilize what you have, Excel spreadsheets, VLOOKUP, utilize those student workers to come in and have fun and call these students and give them some free swag as well. But utilize what you have to make sure that you're making that impact.
Well said.
Yes. Well, thank you both. Do we have any questions from our audience today? We have a few more minutes. If so, you can, like I said, use the Q&A or you can put it in the chat. And in the meantime, I want to thank you both, Michael and Asia, for a wonderful webinar. Thank you for sharing your best practices, sharing, what you've done on your at your institutions, sharing your little nuggets. We really and truly appreciate it. It's a great webinar. And also, I wanted to let everyone know there is a short survey that will pop up at the end of this webinar, if you don't mind. We would love it if you would take just a few minutes to complete that. It would help us on our end as well. So it doesn't look like we have any other questions. Again, thank you so much for joining us today. And I'll give you a back. Well, it's 12 o'clock, so thank you so much. And I will send this recording out as soon as it becomes available. Everybody have a great day. Thank you. Bye now.
Bye, everyone.
Take care, Michael. Take care, Teresa.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.